You good? All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is DJ. Alongside with me is my buddy that, well, he insults me on a daily basis, but you know what? I still love him. It is D Shep. It's been a couple weeks, my friend. I know. Blame me. I know. Go ahead. Go ahead. Insult me. Get out of the way now before we get into Raw, okay, buddy?
I'm good, man.
Okay. Hey, King Jerry,
Besides that
welcome.
shitty fucking hat.
Oh, what? My Phillies hat? There's nothing wrong with that, my friend.
Oh, yeah. How's Bryce Harper doing over there?
I'm hoping we get him.
How's that going for you?
Not too good right now. I heard the Braves are up for him right now, too. I'm like, oh, shit. Hey, what's up, Ryan? On Periscope. Everyone, welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. And, yeah, we took a couple weeks off, mainly my fault. But here we are. We're back. We're live. And we're going to cover the world of the WWE. We're going to cover Raw, Smackdown, and of course, we're going to give our predictions for the Royal Rumble. And of course, I want to announce this real quick. We will be doing a watch along. We're going to do a reaction show of the Royal Rumble this Sunday. Who's going to do it along with me? We'll find out. We'll figure that out all then. But I am took off for it, and I'll be taking off the whole weekend of WrestleMania. And we'll be doing both in NXT. Just with this one, I couldn't do the NXT takeover for the fact that I'm going to be taking time off in a couple of weeks for another reason. All right, so King JR said already in chat goes, Kurt Hawkins wins Rumble and challenges Brock for the world title. That would be awesome. All right, so
Here we go.
I muted it. Hold on. Of course. Your timing is awful.
The phone rings and the daughter goes, Daddy.
I'm recording something. No, I'm in the dining room. I don't know. That's you. Can I hit you up when I'm done? I love you. All right, there we go. Sorry, I'll edit that out. Jeez Louise. Women with their timing, it's always bad. It is. It's always bad. All right, here we go. Let's get right into it, all right? Let's go into the Raw review. All right. Well, I mean, this is coming off a great show last week. This is the Go Home show. A lot of things got to be tied up together. Did they do a good job at it? We'll find out. But, I mean, given by the first segment, which we're going to cover, it's awesome. Miz wins the Rumble to face Bryan at Mania. We'll find out. Apple Sacks, welcome, by the way. For people that are hearing this in a podcast form, we're also live on Mixer, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. So we do read chat. We do respond to chat. And if you listen to us, I'll put the links in the description of this podcast so you get to go over and follow us on there. And you can chat with us live when we record a podcast. All right, so let's go right into it, into the Raw review. Balor, Lesnar, McMahon, Strowman, and Heyman all together in a big, which I thought was going to be a clusterfuck of a segment. Actually, I think they did a pretty good job. It started off with an incredible promo from Paul Heyman. After Heyman put over the number one contender, the chairman then came out to seek the idea that he doesn't believe in Finn Balor. But then after Vince told the story of David and Goliath, which was awful, how does it pertain to him and Finn? Braun Strowman came out to inform the Universal Champion that he would get his opportunity for the Universal title when he does, and he will take the title off him. Then finally, Finn came out to the ring, counter-argued what Vince said, told him that everyone in the ring, everyone in the arena believes in him, and he believes in himself. Of course, Braun jumped on with the mob and saying that he has no confidence in Finn of taking the title off of Lesnar. And after the exchange, Vince immediately announced the match that started coming after break with Finn and Braun. Now, it was a pretty good promo from Paul Heyman. How did you feel about it, though? Because the whole idea was to get Finn Balor over, because there was a lot of criticism as far as him challenging Lesnar for the title and the way they came about it. Did you think they did a good job?
Absolutely not. And
really?
The whole, there's a lot of layers to this story here. You can go from everything from Strowman not being cleared. That's why they did the suspension angle. But then he had a match here, which makes that whole thing make no sense. You have Vince doing a horrible job with his story. But here's the thing with Vince. Vince on TV doing an awful promo is still better than most guys' great promo.
Yeah.
And to me, is you take Heyman and you take Vince out of this was just dead. Right as soon as it hit the air, this is dead. Without them two figures in there, this segment had no chance from the very beginning. And then you also have that side story that came out that they just advertised Strowman and Lesnar for the sake of the ticket sales, along with John Cena being in the Rumble. And I know that's kind of a side little storyline, but that's why this with Balor is so ineffective, is because if it was just simply Finn earning the title shot from the very beginning and then you have everything that has happened since happen exactly how it did, the outlook's completely different. But we all know it was based off an arm not being healed. It was based off ticket sales doing horrible for the Rumble. And that's why Finn's in this spot now. Uh,
Yeah, it was an awful way how they like came
the
about it.
whole they act like we're stupid. We
They
know
did.
why Finn's in this spot. And the fact that we know why he's in the spot is what's making the spot just unrealistic for me. And I was finally excited. I was like, man, they're finally doing something with Finn. After all these months and months and months, we have bitched and moaned about every storyline he's been in has been complete trash, which it has. And then you think he's finally getting his shot, but when you really think about it, this storyline is just as ass as every storyline he was in towards the end of 2018.
Uh, but with Finn though, like because going back to the Survivor Series, I think they planted a seed that it's possible with a guy that's the size of Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan, or anyone around that size, Mustafa Ali, that they have a chance. They legitimately have a chance, and we'll get into the match after this whole promo thing. But yeah, I agree. It seemed like it was forced with getting Finn Balor to shot because obviously you said with ticket sales. Well, obviously I mean, ticket sales are still bad.
Well, they shot themselves in the foot because they booked the ticket sale match thinking that Strowman would be ready, and then they find out Strowman really isn't ready to go in there with a guy like Brock. He can handle a little quickie match with Finn Balor, as we've seen. That was
Yeah,
no big deal. But he could not handle the physicality that was Brock, so that's why he got pulled. And we're all sitting here like, well, they really backed themselves into a corner with that.
yeah,
They're trying to be slick with the whole suspension thing. Oh, yeah. By the way, let's even throw the icing on the cake how the man that's not even cleared to wrestle in the match was somehow able to flip over a fully sized limousine. Yeah, okay. Are we supposed to be stupid or something to believe that crap?
okay. I get your point with that, and it's a valid point. Um, yeah, it seemed like the thing is they still think of Strowman as the name like he has the same type of name as last year. Like when you heard Braun Strowman last year, I mean people were flocking. You saw the build over with the Greatest Royal Rumble and what he did at WrestleMania with the kid. He was winning over people, and they took the steps. And what did they do to get Roman over after winning the Universal title? They flipped him as a heel, and then when that storyline with the shit,
I got a
they
better
switched him
comparison
back.
for you.
What's that?
I got 10 times better. They gave Braun Strowman the Ryback treatment.
Now,
They
I'm not
pushed
familiar with
him.
that.
They pushed him to the moon, and then right as he was red hot, just like Ryback, they turned him heel, and then the character fell flat.
Oh, yeah, but wasn't he also known for hurting people, like really injuring people?
Vaguely compared to the likes of Nia Jax.
But Get Him Jones actually said this, and this was one of the points I was going to get to. We get dumb Demon Balor against Baron Corbin, but not against Brock Lesnar. Laugh out loud. WWE logic. If you were going to go with this, Yeah, that would be the best thing to do. Hold on, give me 1 second.
You're fine.
Sorry about that. Kept was throwing a fit. um, no, if you're gonna do the demon, I don't. Here's the thing. Here's my. I get that. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to logic. Have him do it against Corbin, not Lesnar. But again, going back to what I said, what Survivor Series did was open up the gates that the little guys have a chance against the bigger guy like Brock Lesnar. Daniel Bryan took Brock Lesnar to the limit, probably brought out the best match he has had since he came back in 2012, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, but I also don't think the demon persona matches up with Brock very well either, because it's you need that type of heel that can be shaken in their boots, and that's people like Corbin, or I would even struggle to say Bobby Lashley, or maybe even Dean Ambrose. You need that guy that can pull off that oh my god shock factor part of the demon coming out. That's not going to be Brock
No.
based on the whole size thing. But like
Yep.
you said, since Survivor Series, they're pushing the little guy. But I think you cheese it off a bit if you try to force him out there as a demon against Brock. I don't think it matches up very well because
I agree with you on
Brock's
that.
still not going to be scared of him, whether he
Nope.
comes out as a demon or regular Finn.
King JR said it perfectly. Bobby Lashley should have challenged Brock. Actually, that would have been a great WrestleMania match, but we're not going to see that. I know that. Actually, for the fact that he has the Intercontinental Championship, and of course, we'll cover that later on in the show. All right, so we covered that and how we feel about the Finn Balor. I mean, I'm actually a fan of it. The guy hasn't been given a big chance since coming back from that injury.
I'm a fan of it. I'm just not on the a fan of the way it got set up.
I guess we'll find out. I mean, where they would go. $5 says Goldberg is at the Rumble. Yeah, right.
No,
No.
no, seriously, that's hot rumor there.
Yeah, and there's also a hot rumor that
He's
Ronda's
been
done after
saying since no,
WrestleMania.
he's been saying since last summer that he wants to do the Rumble.
Oh, well, then good for him if he
It,
tries
it
to go
is
for it.
possible.
No, I guess we'll see because the last time he was in the Rumble, he defeated a good champion, Kevin Owens, and I was not a fan of that. Okay, so of course they get into the match. Braun Strowman, Finn Balor. They went back and forth at first. They got Lesnar involved in the match. When Strowman tossed Balor when he was on the top rope, about to perform a maneuver, threw him onto the beast one. Then he was then thrown into a suplex. Of course, after a couple of sling blades, Balor actually looked unstoppable, attacking both Lesnar and his opponent. Hit the coup de grace and was unfortunately not allowed a career-defining win because Lesnar interfered with the F5 and caused him the DQ. My quick question for you is, despite how you feel about the build, and you didn't think that the match, the promo didn't get him over. What did you think of the match? And did you think if the promo didn't get him over, did the match get him over?
I'm 50-50 on it, to be totally honest. I would have rathered him lose clean and have a strong showing than the way they did finish it. I understand why they did, though. That's just the way WWE is now. But I don't think it did much to tip the scale either way. I think if you were going into that match and you already weren't a fan of this, the match didn't do nothing to change your mind. I personally don't think. But it didn't make anything worse. If anything, maybe you could give it a slight bump just because it proved Finn could hang, I guess. But it really didn't move that needle very much for me.
Okay, it might not have done it for you. Me, I think promo. The only part that was good is getting him over is of course, what Paul Heyman says. That guy can sell you shit in a bag as the greatest meal ever, like filet mignon. Now the match, I think he did a pretty good job hanging. The way he was attacking both and maintaining it for a good period of time. The one thing about Finn Balor got the endurance, he's got the speed. I know eventually Lesnar will catch up and get him, but how much would it take? Like how much would it take off of him before he finally gets that upper hand? I think the match did an incredible job getting him over. and it made me anticipate the match even more with them too. A lot of people could disagree. I just feel like that match it did its job. Promo was good first part. The second half kind of killed him. It was like a backhanded compliment. The match got him over, in my opinion.
Do you think there's any way in hell that the Brock and Finn match is going to live up to the hype that was the Brock versus DB match, though?
Yeah,
You
yeah, I think
think
so.
so?
I think so. And of
That would
course,
shock me.
honestly, for the fact that Finn Balor, in some ways, I might get crucified for this. I think is better than Daniel Bryan in some
Oh,
ways.
Lord.
All right, hold on. There's some things Daniel Bryan cannot be touched. I'm gonna be honest with you. As far as Finn Balor and him conditioning, it's more believable for Finn to be the, he's a well conditioned guy. But again, Daniel Bryan opened the gates. It's one thing. Let me put it this way: pretty much life. The example I'm going to give you is the life outside the WWE. You had the first guy that jumped out, and you know, created more. That was Cody Rhodes. Like that was someone that stepped out of the WWE and was successful. Okay, and look what he built. Then you got this other guy called Pac that came out. He left the WWE, and he, even though he joined, but he even made a bigger dent because of what he was to do overseas and here. I mean, you got the guy that set the way. I think Finn Balor's gonna be the guy that gets the victory and shock the world. Like he's the one that's gonna finalize that and make the even though you're 210 pounds, you're not the biggest guy. You still got a chance, and that's the message they do have to say. Because in some ways, it could be believable that the smaller guy could beat the bigger guy. It could happen.
I think that angle is more believable if this match is taking place, I don't know, any time but right before WrestleMania. Then I'm right there with you.
What if it was like a TLC match? You would
No,
probably
no, no,
believe him
no.
more.
I'm not talking about the stipulation. I'm just saying if it's any pay per view that's not in the month of January or February or March, right before Mania, I don't care what pay per view, what stipulation, I'm completely 100% on board with you. But there is no way on God's green earth that they're going to have Finn shock them at Rumble. I can't imagine.
All right. Well, I'll give you an example. There's been a
Unless
couple.
he's a placeholder to Elimination Chamber, then maybe.
There's been a couple, man. There's been a couple people that have won the title from Royal Rumble to Mania.
No. That's not what I'm saying. But to have that shock the world kind of moment happen right before Mania, I don't know.
Going into Mania season, I think it'd be great to have something that big happen to start the road, and it could be followed up with a great and with my prediction, and it seems right because you've seen two guys still be intertwined despite that they're going off on their own things, but then somehow they still meet up. I think you're going to see a meet up at WrestleMania. Of course, we'll talk about that with the Royal Rumble predictions. I feel that it's possible that he can win. I feel it would be huge for them because 2019 is going to be the year of the smaller guys because a lot of these smaller guys are on SmackDown. The bigger guys are on Raw. SmackDown is going to Fox. Who's going to be the main focus now? It isn't going to be Raw as much because you got Fox, SmackDown going to Fox. You want to display your guys, and it's always been this way where the smaller guys have been on SmackDown. So, what better way than have a guy knock off the UFC, possible future UFC champion, going into Mania with the title? I think it'd be a great story, but again, it's not for us to decide. It's for the creative and where they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Again, you can disagree. I'm not
down with it at this time of year.
I always liked it. Like the most shocking one was Eddie Guerrero in 2004. When he beat Lesnar, it shocked the world because you would never thought Eddie Guerrero would win the world title, let alone beat Brock Lesnar for it. But he did it, despite this interference by Goldberg. It honestly, that wasn't a contributing factor because it took a little bit more to do it. But it happened. And then I'll give you another one. Rock beat Kurt Angle. And that was in February of 2001, only to drop the title a little over a month later to Austin at WrestleMania X7. I mean, it has happened. But as far as the smaller guy beating the bigger guy, it has happened.
I don't want to see Balor as my Universal Champion going
I do.
Mania.
I do. I think him and who I'm going to think he's going to face would be an incredible
If,
match.
please God, if I get another Balor Rollins match, I'll fucking kill myself.
I'm not thinking that one. Well, of course, we'll get into that when we talk about the predictions. All right, so let's move along. Do you have anything else to add to that? Because we'll move right along, my friend. Okay,
Nah.
we're going to cover this pretty quick because it's a big story in a way, but it's also, as far as this week, it's a non-story. But we were live last week to talk about it. Of course, that's Bobby Lashley winning the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, Paula Cruz gets a shot at the title, and man, I don't even know if I don't think we should even cover the match. It was an abomination, and not on Bobby Lashley's part. I think Paula Cruz kind of underestimated his strength or overestimated his strength, and there was a couple of really big botches in the match. But overall, Bobby Lashley did get the win with the distraction of Leo Rush. But my only question for you, D-Shep, is how did you feel about Bobby Lashley winning the Intercontinental title?
I was okay with it.
You were okay with it?
I don't think Dean needed it anymore. I don't think it was ever gonna be a long reign. I'm curious where they go with Bobby and Leo after all this. I really don't have the foggiest clue right now. Like, where's this gonna be going into Mania season with that? Who would be a good Mania opponent? I really don't know off the top of my head. But I'm okay with it for Bobby. I think Bobby needed it.
Yeah, they needed to do something with him because we've been saying for the last year when he came back when he first came back to the WWE after WrestleMania, just they put him in a horrible angle with Sami Zayn. That was just a complete shit. So he was in obscurity for the longest time. Throwing him in just who gives a fuck matches, filler matches, and then out of nowhere he gets his opportunity for a triple threat for the IC title, and he comes out on top. And I think it's good for him. It's something. If he's not going to be in the Universal title picture, this is the best thing for him. And as far as I agree with you with Dean Ambrose, they did what they had to do. It was dead from the start. The heel turn pretty much is shit. We actually seen a lot of flaws with Dean Ambrose as far as being a singles guy. And we discussed that recently. But overall, this was probably the best thing for him is to win that title and get it off Dean because it was just fall flat.
If I had to pick a guy, even though we've already seen the match, and normally I'm not okay with the rematches, I would love the program to be Elias and Lashley going into Mania and have Elias finally win.
That would be
I know
good.
they haven't been doing a lot with Elias lately, but that's me talking as a fan. I most would want to see that.
It could work because again, you got your face and heel. That's the classic way.
I don't want to see no fucking triple threat with Rollins, Ambrose, Lashley, or Ziggler, or anybody else. Yeah, I know Ziggler might be leaving very soon, but I
think it's inevitable.
I don't know who else is out there for Lashley besides maybe a guy like Finn Balor. I really don't know a good opponent for Lashley for Mania. I really don't.
I think it would be a good program for to throw Elias in with that. It could work. And here's the thing: he might not even come out on top at Mania. You could probably prolong it if you could do it right. If they book it right, you could probably get a few months out of that, and it would be good for both of them. You get an Intercontinental title on him, build him up to a possible Universal title picture, and then you give Elias something which is well deserved. The guy's really shown his worth. I like the face turn. Actually, I disagree with
KO and Sami Zayn returning soon too, so they're going to get mixed up. And do we both agree Owens and Sami Zayn at Rumble for sure, 100%?
Zayn, yes. KO is actually, I think, might be a little after. I don't think he wouldn't, unless if they're just trying to throw us off. They reported that he injured his knee training for his comeback. So that came out. That could also be just to throw us off. So we don't even know completely if that's just...
A redemption storyline with Sami Zayn and Lashley again?
Oh, Jesus, no. Just go with Elias. Just go with Elias. No, it would be good for Elias. KO honestly should go thrust it into the Universal title picture. That guy never got his rematch.
Eliminates Lashley at the Rumble could be the kickoff to the storyline of who he faces at Mania.
Yeah, that could be it. And a storyline could start just as simple as that. So that's a good way to think of it, man. Again, I just didn't want to cover that match because the Apollo Crews Bobby Lashley match was a complete shit. And nothing against Cruz. He's a very, very athletic guy. Very good in the ring. Um, he needs a little bit more work on the mic, in my opinion. But overall, he's growing. But this is a huge opportunity for him because he's another guy that's coming up on a contract. So you got to give them their opportunities right now. Because you got people like Ziggler that's coming up at the end of the month, more than likely leaving. There's been no reports of if he's coming back or anything. They want him to be a producer, backstage guy, and he's not happy with it. But yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion as far as Bobby Lashley.
Also, it was around the same time of the show, right? And it's not in your rundown. I just want to do something short on it real quick.
Yeah,
Do you
sure.
like what they're potentially doing with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins? I want to throw it. I'm not like, I know it's not like the greatest thing ever, but I am slightly intrigued about it, kind of like I was with B Team when they first started.
I'll tell you why, yes. Because here's the thing. I was still kind of in the mix at the time when Zack Ryder did this, and I remember the Long Island stories, the true Long Island
So
stories.
that I watched every episode of that.
Now, here's my only thing with that, and I listened to this on Busted Open, and I immediately agreed with Bully Ray this week, and because I thought of this at the time, and it was reported at that time in 2011-12. They wanted him to get over. They said, go ahead and do this. He did that YouTube series, got himself over, did the Internet Championship, and what did they do with him after that? He got over, and they did nothing with it. And that was something that was created organic by him, very creative, and they did nothing with it. Now, you can see he still gets a pop. There's still something there for him. And the fact that teaming up with Kurt Hawkins, I actually like that.
I
And
want to go out on a limb and
yeah,
say that they're going to be Raw Tag Team Champs by the end of 2019.
and that's possible because one thing I see is that they're going to try to focus on that tag team division. And we'll get into that because we'll be talking about that in moments. But yeah, it seems like they're going to try to rebuild that tag team division because it is,
I
of course,
like
with
it.
the news.
Though. It's not going to be the greatest tag team ever, but they had a good run back in the day as the Edgeheads when they were both being Edges doubled. Oh, that shit was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that.
That dude, that was great fucking TV. Like, that, I marveled at it. To be honest, it was way ahead of its time.
Oh no, I remember that, and the perfect guy to do it with was Edge. I mean, it just worked. The chemistry together, it was good work, and you'll probably see that again because they always if it worked before, they'll do it again. All right, so yeah, we'll talk more about the tag team division later on the show. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it'd be a good thing for them to team up and get thrusted in the tag team division. Kurt Hawkins, they got to stop with that losing streak. I understand what they're trying to do, but
I think it's going to get stopped in the tag team matches. I don't think it's going to get stopped in a singles match.
yeah, a lot of people were speculating that they were going to do the battle royal, and with the battle royal,
Yeah, I thought for a second Kurt was going to win that.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought they were going to give it to him, and of course they didn't.
It's just a little side something.
No. That's totally fine. No, actually, I should have put that on there because it goes along with the subject with the whole tag team division. Get 'em Jones says, I think they just put Zach on TV to keep him interested in staying with the company. That is possible because his is coming up too, his contract. This year, his contract's coming up. Again, AEW, in a way, it's never going to take over because a lot of people are freaking out about, they're saying, they're going to take over, but no one's taking the number one spot. No one will.
The only way I would see Zack Ryder leaving is if that's where Ziggler goes.
That's possible. I mean, WWE has no
interest.
interest.
If Ziggler goes to AEW, it's going to be real hard for Zack Ryder to turn down.
Mm-hmm. And am I right? But isn't Billy Gunn and Ziggler good friends too?
Yeah, and Billy Gunn's the head booker, right?
Yep. So again,
if Ziggler goes there, it'll be hard.
Yeah, it will be.
And we'll find out on Ziggler here. Actually, the contract's up today.
Yeah.
It is today.
Well, we'll find out. And I'm sure there'll be something. And he probably can't compete for like 60 days or something like that. That's usually what they do. And by then, their first show, Double or Nothing, will be in May. So it'll be more than enough time for him, to no compete. And then he could take time off, work on his comedy.
90-day no compete.
Oh, 90 days. Even so,
I think.
that's still April.
Yeah.
So he's that double or nothing is the week before, the Saturday before. Actually, it's Memorial Day weekend, which is I don't know why they do that shit. They did All In last year on Labor Day. Now they're going to do double or nothing on freaking Memorial Day. All right, well, let's get right back into Raw. We went off on that little tangent, but you know what? I like that tag team tangent because that goes along with what we're going to discuss later. Let's go into this though. McIntyre and Rollins, which was a good match. Went back and forth. It was the longest match of the night. Rollins, of course, gets the win with the roll up and putting all this weight on the legs of McIntyre to get the victory. And given by the reaction of D-Shep here, he was not a fan, and I want to hear why. What'd you think of the match?
Why? I've seen this match 6,003 times.
Okay, but in the past you would see matches like this, and if you got two great workers, that great chemistry, how many times did you see Edge and Christian in the Dudleys?
That applies to the second, the third, maybe even the fourth rematch. But when you wrestle over 10 times on Raw this year, probably, rough guess, and the year just started, that's a problem. Yes, solid match, great back and forth. I don't think it did nothing to further Rollins, nothing to further McIntyre. This ain't no program. This is just a random match. And for a random match, yeah, it was a solid, good match, but there was nothing building off this match whatsoever. So I think it's just a class of waste of time.
I think it was just a Royal Rumble build-up. That's what it was. And they kind of do that with the competitors in the Royal Rumble, and both of them are in it, okay? And I liked the match. To me, it was an enjoyable match. And going on when you say, okay, you've seen it 1,000 times, but how many times you would see Edge and Christian versus the Hardys or the Dudleys versus the Hardys?
This ain't that.
No, yes, it is because they have great chemistry together, just like they did.
They have great chemistry together, but not that many fucking times, dude.
Oh, dude, they had plenty of matches together. That never changed.
But the matches you're talking about between like the Hardys, Dudleys, and etc., that was spanning over years. These guys have had the same amount of matches as them guys in less than 12 months. I don't know. I'm not good.
Okay. Well, that's your opinion. I enjoyed the match. I felt like it had value because these were two competitors in the Royal Rumble. They do that and we'll talk about it at the end of SmackDown. They kind of did their way of doing that. This was theirs. These two guys, competing in the Rumble. They just put them in a match together. So you feel like they're overusing the match, which was one of the questions I had on the lineup. So you agree? If they do it every week, like they were doing with like freaking Elias and Corbin, yeah, that is. But you know what? It's been a while since it's been at least a month or a little over a month since the last time these two met in the match. Yeah, but again,
they had to meet their monthly quota.
Yes, they did. They had to meet their monthly quota.
Oh, come on.
Dude, they have great chemistry. I enjoy their matches. I really do. I do. But again,
you also love the hell out of all them AJ Styles Shinsuke matches that went bazillion times too.
Yeah, it's called a program. What is with you? And you're a guy that's older than me.
This ain't a program. That wasn't a program between McIntyre and Rollins. Come on,
but
man.
Shinsuke and AJ was a program. What happened back in the day when you would face them?
What's this then?
I told you what that was. It was a Rumble. No, not filler. It was two competitors in a Rumble in a match. Two competitors, two great workers that were doing a match.
Well, in that case, I don't know. Why don't we see Zack Ryder and Drew McIntyre next week then?
That would be a good match.
Or, I don't know. How about, since they're going to be some kind of old-ass legend, let's go with Jerry DeKeane versus...
Oh, now you're just being ridiculous.
They'll both be in the Rumble.
Now you're just being ridiculous. Dude,
well, no, there's nothing wrong with be in the Rumble, so let's just throw all...
That's what it was.
Why don't we just do another Rumble, bonus Rumble? Then they used to do that shit where they would do like a 10-man or woman battle royal before the Rumble, too.
And I think it took away from the match, so I'm glad they didn't do that. My only thing is, you're talking about, like... Oh, it's a filler match. No, it was a match between two competitors that are in a Rumble, and they were putting a match together. That's all it was. Two guys with great chemistry, great workers, and they put on a good match. I don't see what your big problem with that is. I mean, if it was that,
I've seen every move from them guys, though. They can't do nothing new at this point. I guess I just don't see that.
yeah, I'm surprised because you're an old school guy like me, and this is something that we saw plenty of times. Dude, you would never have one-off matches. You would never see that.
Yeah, but this isn't a program anymore. I'll give you a comparison, and I know we're going to be talking about it because it was fantastic. And
What's
that's
that?
Rey Mysterio and all this. Now I could see that a billion times because that is still a program between them two. This
Hold on.
program was dead in the water. They resurrected it, and then about a month from now, they'll have another random match on Raw. That's not a program anymore. If it was a program and it was leading to something for one of them guys, completely different story. I'm right on board with you. But this Mysterio and Omnis stuff blows Rollins and McIntyre out the water.
You're not gonna. I actually ain't gonna disagree with that one. Gunham Jones says basically they have them keep fighting each other because they don't know what to do with them. Now it isn't that. I'll tell you why. I think, given by my, I'll explain when I do my prediction. There's a few things I'll explain. I just don't want to give away my prediction, and there's a reason. It could possibly, you could see a 2-month program leading up to WrestleMania with these two. You don't know.
If you have a 2-month program between these two, I'm not watching it.
Well, I don't know. Again,
I
could be way off. But I have a feeling about something, and it's not the norm. A lot of people aren't picking this, but I'm going to go with this. But we'll get into that when we discuss the Royal Rumble. All right, so let's go on. Are you okay? Can we move along? Okay. All right, let's go right into it. Now, everyone's been complaining about the NXT call-ups. When the hell are we going to see them? We're seeing them backstage. We're seeing them pretty much not doing anything. And what do we... And
hey, wait. Before
critical.
we get
Mr. Critical.
I know who we're going to talk about.
What's that?
The greatest thing I've ever seen in my life was on Smackdown when they made that drink, and Becky goes and drinks it and goes, "Oh, that's a little weak." I busted. That was one of the top Smackdown moments of the year for me, bar none. But besides that, the backstage stuff, in my opinion, has been absolutely.
I'm hoping you guys are hearing that. All right, give me 1 second. For some reason, my headphone died. Yeah. No, it's all good. I can fix it. Yes, I did miss your rant. I apologize. It's not my fault.
Somebody in the background on Raw, like,
Yeah.
really, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you finally got to see something, of course, and that was the match of heavy machinery. They went on against the Ascension, which was a tag team that was pretty much they were. The AJ had the producer's cut T-Chef's mic. I did not. I did not. I did not do no such thing. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know if that went over. That probably didn't even go over. If he's saying that, but well, that's fine. You were talking about the backstage, but yeah, going on with that. I'm glad they finally brought someone in. I'm finally happy with that. Of course, heavy machinery going up against the Ascension in the tag team match. They really showed their power throughout the match. That was the point. You wanted to get them over. I did like Otis's worm spot. I don't know how you felt about that. And that was just entertainment to me. But of course, they went with the compactor. And yeah, Gunham Jones said it. Or the continued burial of the Ascension. How did you feel about it? How did you feel about the match? How do you feel about the debut for them?
I'm scared that they're just going to be a comedy act, but for the moment, it's still funny. I think it could get old very quick, like it did with B Team, unfortunately. But as far as the debut, though, I was completely okay with everything I saw.
Yeah. Get him, Jones. Yeah, he did do the Caterpillar. Why is my headphones dying again? That's
Huh?
odd. My headphones is dying. I don't know if
Huh.
that's a hit. All right. If it happens, that's fine. Yeah, the Caterpillar is the one he did, and then he did the actual worm. Um, so you like their debut. Now, this is the thing. Obviously, they want to build up the tag team division. What the fuck is bothering me? I might have to get regular headphones. So I'll let you know if this dies out. Um, they want to build up the tag team division. That's been the biggest thing. Of course, that's a reaction to what happened last week with the Revival asking for the release. And that, I think, shook things up as far as tag team division in the WWE. Now, given that, you've finally seen Heavy Machinery. If there is a tag team on Raw right now, on the Raw roster, who would you like to see them program first? Because I know they're a comedy bit, but you can see they could be taken seriously. And who would you like to see them paired up?
Honestly, I would have to say Revival, because if they're going to be out the door, it's a good way to get over against an established team, and not for the titles right away, because you don't want to throw them in the title scene right away. So I honestly would say Revival, maybe AOP, maybe, but it'd have to be one of those two.
Well, AOP, I think it's Ackham, or Ray, I forgot which one. One of them's injured with a knee injury, so that's why they haven't been on TV. So if they were healthy, yeah, that would be a good program. Given that, I mean, they were both down in the NXT level at the same time at one point. Revival, I agree with you, will probably be a great program because it could be that little bit of a comedy, but they also could be taken seriously going up against a team that.
And Revival can do their usual comedy, making fun of the comedy teams.
Yeah.
And they're the legit team, and Heavy Machinery is just a comedy. They can do their usual spiel.
Yeah. Ackerman is injured. Yeah, that's it. And we aren't going anywhere. I hope they don't. They're a great tag team. But
well, the rumor has it they told Revival when they asked for the release that they're going to give them a push so that they'll stay.
Yeah, well, I think it was another version of saying F off. You're not going nowhere. It's called a contract.
But well, they are on contract, they said, until early 2020.
Yeah.
I remember reading that on the dirt sheets this weekend. Their contract ain't up this year. It's not up till next year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's why I wanted to get your take as far as like the debut.
I think it has to be Revival. What other heel tag team could it be? I don't.
The Ascension, but they kind of buried them. Really, to be honest, they buried.
I guess if you want to do something random, you can have them beat up Heath Slater and Rhino just for shits and giggles, but that's not a program.
No. If you.
But as a second debut match that could be before a program gets started, then go that way. Beat all the scrub teams first, and then do the program with Revival.
Yeah, and you got to build them up a little bit, so that'd be one way of doing it. All right. Well, now that we talked about that, let's talk about the main event of the evening. Of course, the big build-up for the Raw Women's Championship at Royal Rumble. Sasha Banks challenging Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. And, of course, the payoff to the Go Home show, no pun intended, of course, is the tag team match between Ronda Rousey and Natalya going up against Bayley and Sasha. And again, I know this is a phrase I used a lot, but it is a great back-and-forth match. There were two close finishes where Ronda and Sasha locked their submissions in, but neither one submitted. Of course, the Queen of Hearts, though, got involved in the wrong time and took a backstabber into the bank statement, and she was the force to tap out. Of course, after the match, Sasha and Ronda exchanged words to end the show. My quick question for you, what did you think of the match? And did the final showdown get you more invested in this title match?
I wouldn't say it was a solid match. I wouldn't say it got me more invested, but it did get me more invested in the grand picture, because I think what's been going on is leading to a lot of people probably somewhat predicting the same thing, which we'll get into in a minute, so I won't spoil it now.
Yeah.
But I think this is doing more for long-term booking than it is for the short sake of this program.
Okay.
But I have a big plan when we get to Royal Rumble predictions based off what I've seen on Raw.
I know. I think we should have started the show with that because we're actually holding off on our opinions until then. But that's fine. I thought so. You didn't like the match, and were you invested? Did you feel invested after that? Did you anticipate this match even more after this?
No, absolutely not. It invested me in the long-term plan because I think I have a pretty good idea where they're going for Mania and Rumble and all that.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a good final build. The trash talking before the match was good. The two promos that when they were interviewed, both Sasha and Ronda, they did a great job with that. I think they did a good match, and of course, it ended off with them going back and forth. Right way to end it. My question for you, because I know how you think and the way you've gone off in the past about this, about being forced for main event, was this a match worthy of the main event?
Yes, by default, though. I don't think you had anything else on the card that you could have put there. God damn, they didn't go with the fucking promo from the beginning of the show as the main event. That would have been horrible. So I think for what they had to work with, it was the obvious choice.
Okay. All right. So I just asked that because I know how you go off and how you're passionate about that, and not to, make you,
I don't think there was anything else that blew you out of the water as far as this show was concerned that could have been in that spot instead.
Yeah, I mean, there was decent matches. I think the worst one, I hate to say, was the Apollo Crews. And I was always a fan of Apollo Crews. I just can't believe how...
I'd never been on his board. This was Bobby Lashley versus Bobby Lashley Jr., and it was trash.
Yeah, it was. I hate to say that, but it was. All right, well, now that we're done covering Raw, let's get into the conclusion of it. And what we do is we rate Raw from 1 to 5. And what would you give it?
This was a little bit more of a dark one for me because lately the go home shows have been disappointing before pay-per-views, most of them anyway. So yeah. I can't go no higher than a 2.
Wow.
I just did nothing for me.
And you know what? I'm shocked we're actually agreeing on this, and it's unanimous because even Get'em Jones in chat said that. Yeah, I'm going with it too. I think they didn't do well enough. I think the Finn Balor thing is what made it a 2. I think they did a good job getting him over for that. In the match, promo the first part, second half buried him. Like I said, it was a backhanded compliment.
I think there was probably more done on this show for Mania than there was for the Rumble.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I'll get to that in the predictions.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see why. That's actually there's some truth to that too. Yeah. Yeah, they just didn't finalize the storylines leading up. I think the best one was obviously the Becky and Sasha. Everything else, there was just no, there was nothing there. All right, let's move along. We're done with Raw. Let's go right into SmackDown. Okay, now, of course, we're wondering, Raw didn't do a great job for the go-home show, not to finalize everything, get the final encounter of the major matches before the Rumble. And, well, let's see if they do it. They start off the show with Becky Lynch, Asuka, and Charlotte in a nice segment. Becky came out, dressed the universe about her upcoming match with Asuka at the Royal Rumble. Of course, she got a huge pop when she said she would be the main event at WrestleMania. Asuka then came out to get to go face-to-face with the challenger, and all she basically did was taunt her by raising the title. Then Charlotte Flair interrupted and stirred things up, trash-talking Lynch and reminding Asuka she was the one who ended her undefeated streak at WrestleMania last year. Asuka then had enough and attacked Lynch from behind, initiating the brawl that the officials needed to break up. Of course, coming back from commercial, they got into another scuffle where the officials had to break it up. So overall, my question for you is, what did you think of that segment? And what do you think? Was it a good final build for the Asuka-Becky match?
This was, again, more for Mania. Because if this was just about the Rumble and just about getting excited for Becky and Asuka, I don't even understand why Charlotte's out there in the first place. Yes, I get for her part of what she did in the segment. She did phenomenal. It was fine. Typical Charlotte. She always knocks that shit out of the park. But I just didn't understand the reasoning for it until I started thinking of the whole grand plan when it comes to all the women from Raw, SmackDown, Mania, Rumble, all that. Then what they did on SmackDown made perfect sense. But if this was just about Becky versus Asuka, then it was horrible.
And I totally agree with you because it was the build for that match, and they didn't. All you got was her Asuka raising the title. All you got was, like she said, very little. But the main focus was that Charlotte came out and trash talked to both of them to initiate the brawl with them too. It took Charlotte to do that. It shouldn't have taken that. It should have been something that was said by either one of Becky or Asuka that set each other off and initiated that brawl. But instead, it was, of course, the Queen. But going along with what you were saying with the WrestleMania build, it would make sense if it's for the long term and not just for the Rumble. But again, the Go Home show, what do? You promote. This is like your final promotion for the show, especially when you're not sold out yet. The show's not sold out. So you want people to subscribe to the network. You want people to buy tickets. You want a reason for people to be invested in these matches. And having someone that's not involved in the title match, they initiate the confrontation, the brawl between the two, I don't agree with it. That's just my opinion about it. So basically, I know we agree on that. And just wow, we're actually agreeing. What the fuck is the matter with us? All right. Now here's the thing I want to say. Obviously, they're pushing for the women's title to be the main event at WrestleMania. If there was two women you want to see, and I'm talking two, I don't want a triple threat. I think it would take it away. I think you need a good one-on-one encounter. If it's two women, who do you want it to be?
Well, see, that's just it, though.
You want me to wait for Rumble?
It's part of my grand plan with the women. So how about this? Let's table it for now.
All right, we'll do that.
The rest of SmackDown, and when we start the Royal Rumble predictions, I'll kick off with that, and I'll kick you off with my total woman plan because I got, I think, lock, stock, barrel plan for this.
All right. Let's go right into the, let's see if we can see the final encounter between Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Of course, AJ Styles came into the ring. Vince McMahon was moderated the final encounter between the two competitors. Bryan came out, and when he came out, he refused to go in the ring with them. The chairman hyped the title bout before Bryan launched into a rant, criticizing Styles for using his fame for money instead of good. He reminded everyone that he's not the people's champion, but rather the planet's champion. I like that line. That was cool. Styles responded, accusing Bryan of going against everything he ever believed in, all for the sake of the WWE title. After a while, McMahon demanded for Bryan to get in the ring. He still refused. So Styles took the face-to-face encounter to the arena floor where they brawled. Of course, AJ Styles went to tee off on the champion and teased a phenomenal forearm, but Bryan used McMahon as a shield. The distraction allowed Bryan to deliver the running knee to end the segment. So you're laughing. I would like to get your take. What did you think of the segment, and did it sell you? Was this a good final encounter before the match at Royal Rumble?
It was everything that I needed. Like I said, it don't matter what Vince does. Vince, the moment he walks out, puts everything up at least one letter grade. If it's a B segment, it's an A segment. If it's a C, it's a B. He has that legacy for that. Bryan defined him was funny, so you had funny. You had AJ talking, so then you had your serious part. Then you had the little quirky distraction, which most promos or something have. It just hit every. If you had all the notches on the belt, this hit everything. This was as perfect as a promo they had between Raw and SmackDown, period.
And we're agreeing again. And this is good when we actually agree. Dude, it was a great promo by Daniel Bryan. In my opinion, probably the best he's done in a long time.
I'm telling you right now, if you take Vince off Raw and SmackDown this past week, we're probably giving Raw no more than a 1.5. And we're definitely, if you take Vince off SmackDown, you're bumping it down a point grade too. He's the icing on the cake. He just is. And I am so happy that he's on TV on a regular basis. Even if they're a short little backstage segment like that one week with Shane, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's all you need. Just sprinkle